Hello everyone, I'm coming to you today with a review of Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. So I was a bit hesitant going into this because it has been so hyped, and it's also in the shortlist of the Women's Prize for Fiction, and I was thinking that it's very difficult for it to stand up for the hype, but I'm happy to report that it does. At least for me it does. So this book follows the story of Agnes, who is the wife of Shakespeare. And this book is centered around the event of the death of Hamnet, which is the son of Shakespeare and Agnes. And it's divided in two parts. The first part is like 2/3 of the book, and it is about the before the death of Hamnet, and then the last 100 pages or so are about what happens after the death of Hamnet. So, as I said, this book centers on Agnes, and Agnes is a very interesting character because she was the daughter of a quite well-off farmer. And her mother died when she was giving birth to her, so she had to grow up with her stepmom, which was very cruel to her, and also she's a very different kid, so she is considered like a bit of a witch in the town, and everybody when Shakespeare starts dating her, sort of, everyone thinks that he's kind of crazy because she is not considered to be a good match for anybody, even though her dad has a lot of money, and people do think that that's one of the few reasons why he would be interested in her, but he's actually interested in her as a person. So they marry, and she moves to his house, in this town where his family lives. And when she moves there, she's considered sort of like almost like a servant. It's lower than the cows and the pigs, the status that she has, and it doesn't help her that she acts in ways that are not acceptable in the city. So she likes to go to nature by herself, things like that are not really accepted. So yeah, she suffers a lot from this, but she's a very strong woman, so she doesn't care. She stands up for what she believes, and you can see that when their first daughter is born, Susanna. Agnes decides that she wants to have her be born in nature, so she goes into nature and she doesn't care what anyone says. And with her second pregnancy, she wants to do the same, but the family of Shakespeare thinks that is a crazy move, so they force her to have the children at home. Yeah, in this book you can see how it shows. The first part shows how strong she is as a woman, and how much of an independence she has, and how little she cares about what other people think. Regardless of what they think, she's gonna do what is right for her, and I really like that about her. So the first part is divided in chapters, and it alternates chapters from the life of Agnes before she met Shakespeare and when they are courting, and then the alternate chapters are about when the children are older, and that's more or less around the time that Hamnet dies. So Agnes and Shakespeare had 3 children, an older daughter, Susanna, and then they had twins, Hamnet and Judith. When this plague arrives to town, most people think that Judith will be the one to die first, because she was always the weak one when the twins were born. But as we were told, like from the beginning, it is Hamnet, the one that dies, and Hamnet is a bit of a precious boy. It's the boy of the family. Is the one that is learning how to read and write. Is the one that might keep the business when he's older. So he's not. It's a lot more impactful if he dies than if Judith dies. But that, of course, doesn't stop illnesses to kill him, in a way. And we see how Agnes goes through all of this while her husband is in London working. We of course know what he's doing in London, but he's barely mentioning here. Like, it's totally not about him. This book almost has nothing of him. It's about Agnes and how strong he is. But at the same time, she's very strong, but she's also human. She has that depth that she also makes mistakes. She also doubts herself. She has fears. She has issues. So she's not a plain character. She has a lot of depth to her. So we explored all of that in the first part of the book, and then when Hamnet dies, we see how that changes all of the relationships and how this grief builds up into people. And it's not something that goes away. It's something that stays with you. And we see it, of course, mainly on Agnes, but we see that also on Shakespeare himself, but also on the children, especially Judith, because she lost her twin. And we are shown all of that, how all those relationships change and how all that emotion builds up. And I think that was very successful at building that emotion and that impact. And I think that is the main reason why so many people love this book. And I also really like that. I think that it didn't have as much impact to me because I am more of a rational reader, in the sense that I am more drawn towards books that make me think rather than books that make me feel. But I still felt a lot of things for these characters because they are so three-dimensional, and you can really understand their grief and you can really understand that pain. And that is what this book does brilliantly. And I think that it's also a very smart decision that we know from the beginning that Hamnet is going to die, because it doesn't rely on plot twists to draw you to that emotion. The emotion is there regardless of the fact that you know that Hamnet is going to die, because we know the backstory, we know these characters so well that we feel for them. So yeah, I think that was really well done. And I also have to say the language on this was really beautiful. And for me it was not that beautiful, like really grand and really lush. It was more on the small things, the descriptions of how they make food, how they eat, how they sew, how they clean. Those kinds of things are beautifully described here, that every day that gives you a sense of place and a sense of home. That is given here very, very well as well. So yeah, I really, really like this book. I think I would recommend to everybody that has not read it yet. And I definitely see why it's in the shortlist of the Women's Prize for Fiction. And I actually have a theory about that. I think that this is not in the long list of the Booker Prize because the Booker thought that they are going to probably choose The Mirror and the Light as the winner. And if they put this in the list, it might hurt the chances of Hamnet to win the Women's Prize for Fiction. Whereas now, when it's clear that Hamnet is not going to win the Booker, it has to win something. So it kind of puts that pressure on the Women's Prize to give it to Hamnet this year. That is my theory. I might be wrong. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but that's why I think this is not in the Booker long list. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. They choose the winner on the 9th of September, I believe. So we will soon know if this will win. But I think it will be a very good winner. Also because I think that the Women's Prize for Fiction tends to focus more on books that have interesting characters and stories, where the Booker does also value a lot the innovation, literary innovation and experimentation, in a way that maybe this book doesn't do so much. But the story and the characters have a depth that and a beauty that needs to be recognized, and I think the Women's Prize for Fiction will be perfect for this to win. So yeah, we'll see if I'm right. I have read, I think, all the shortlist except from The Mirror and the Light. But I think this has a very, very good chance to win. So we'll see. But yeah, overall I would really recommend. It was a very good book, and especially if you are the kind of person that really wants to feel deep emotions when they are reading, I would really recommend this. And also if you're someone that really appreciates beautiful language, this is also for you, I would say. So yeah, those are my thoughts in Hamnet. Let me know what you think if you have read it, and if not, if you want to read it, let's have a chat in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye!